It makes me happy that you're happy. It's going to make you happy that you make somebody else happy. It's win, 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 win.
Win. I like it.
Yeah. So you're on the team. Friend me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter.
Do you have a card?
Oh, right there.
I will definitely do that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And have fun today and be careful out there.
Yes and yes.
Drink to me only with thine eyes, and I will pledge with mine. And that's all I know. So usually there's a harpist here, Paula the harpist. Everybody will be singing that song, not only me. We are at Eaglemount Winery in the heart of the Chimacum Valley, right outside Port Townsend, having fun at the Red Wine and Chocolate Festival. I'm a chocolatier. I discovered a couple of months ago that the reason I'm a chocolatier, I've known it all along, but it's one of those things that was just in the background, and it is that my chocolate makes people happy. I never realized it before. I always heard, great things. Oh my God, this is really great. And then there was this little girl that wanted a sample of my chocolates at one of the markets. Her father gave her one. She threw her arms around his neck and said, "Daddy, I love you." He turned to me and said, "I'll take 2 boxes." That's when it hit me that happiness is really prevalent around my chocolate. So the reason I make my chocolates is because it makes people happy. You have the opportunity to make people happy. I'm all about happiness. Hi, my name is Jimmy Two Shirts. I am the chocolatier at Chocolate Serenade. Make chocolates fresh every night. Here's how it all happened. I used to be a stirrer with my grandmother Georgette in the kitchen. I got to stir a lot. And Georgette made ganache. She used it for icings on cupcakes, icings on cakes, and later I used it as the center for my truffles. So I made Georgette's recipe, and it just didn't taste the same. Couldn't figure it out. And then all of a sudden it hit me. Cream in the 40s is not what cream is today. In the 40s, cream tasted entirely different. Same thing is true for butter. So I had to tweak Georgette's recipe a little bit, but now, today, the ganache that I make tastes exactly like the ganache Georgette made for me. Thank you, Georgette, wherever you are. I make caramels and nougats also. The big hit these days, of course, is salted caramels. So I make organic caramels, and I make just regular caramels for people that don't care if it's organic or not. A nougat is typically made with egg whites, whipping egg whites together. You start with something called Italian meringue. I made it and it failed. I made it and it failed. It took me a year so I could get sugars, hot sugars, to mix with egg whites. And the big deal was this. I read in Reader's Digest one day, if you want to make Italian meringue that you can mix with sugars and doesn't seize up, use a bigger whisk. So I went to the store and bought a balloon whisk, and they were right. It just made all the difference in the world. Nougats and caramels. Caramels use caramelized sugar, and essentially caramelized sugar is a controlled burn of the sugar. You want it to taste good. You don't want it to burn so much that it doesn't taste good. And nougat is just buttercream and sugar mixed together. Without the egg whites, it's called dark nougat, and that's what I specialize in. I put toasted almonds. It's delicious. I got started by taking a very poor sample of caramel to a dinner party, but everyone was really happy that I brought it, and it just made me happy that they were happy, that I was able to contribute. And so my contribution today is making chocolates that make people happy. Caramelizing sugar is putting it in a pan and very slowly, maybe less than medium heat, starting to melt the sugar. And the trick is knowing when to stop. And the only thing I can tell you about that is it's trial and error. You'll make mistake after mistake after mistake. And sugar gets very, very hot. So keep small children and cats away from this process. I don't make the very best around, but the stuff I make makes people happy. And that's something to brag about. I got the nickname Jimmy Two Shirts because the kitchen has to be cool for the chocolate to temper correctly. The chocolate that I use has to be 87 degrees, but the room in the kitchen has to be about 64, and there can't be a lot of moisture in the air, less than 50%. And so it's a controlled process, and that's why most people don't dip chocolates. I'm all out of samples. I got to get to work.
You turned your back?
And they were gone. But Look at the room. Happiness. There's a lot of happiness in this room.
I will help you get through them in an appropriate way.